filming again.
Oh yeah, that'll do. Right, so we've, as you've just seen there, we drew an absolute belter of a peg. Actually, what the area where you want now, where the area we are, is there. So last week when I come on a live match I did, which will be out soon, I was here and the wind's been blowing this way. Now it's a corner peg, so that's the peg there, the 19's in and 14's a known flyer, but I think it's going to be a dead simple day. I'm going to have to try and maybe dob a couple of carp down the right edge long, and there's a little bay there, and then I'm going to basically just fish maggots up and down on one line. I might throw some in the edge, but you never really catch there in the edge, so just maggots up and down, a couple of shallow rigs, a deck rig. It's a little bit deeper there, so I'm going to fish a little bit heavier, 4x14s. Just keep it simple, keep it tight, 13. You can't eat it out of the way, but yeah, that is a nice peg to draw. That's why I did sort of laugh, because I did want that sort of area. These top end of the lakes have been really good, so here's been really good, here's been really good, and then like here, and then here's been really good. So hopefully we can have a few fish, catch a few fish, and then get stuck in. So I'm just going to walk to my peg. Just got my barra set up now, so I'm going to wander down there, get me maggots off Jay, and then we're going to, there's a big caterpillar, and we're going to see how we get on. So hopefully I'll see you when I get to the peg. Right, so this is it. So that's the corner I was talking about. Normally catch them dobbing up that reed line there. Got an aerator there, but alphals in there. Young gal. 14's there, but I'm just literally going to fish maggots up and down into that dark water there. Just make it nice and easy for myself. So dead simple. I might chuck a short line in, but not too sure yet. I'm going to see what it plums up like. But it's ever so clear still, so I think like shallow. Going to be looking between 2 and 4 foot, I reckon, but you never know. I'll get my rig set up. Probably going to set a 4x8 F1 maggot up, and maybe a 4x10 F1 maggot as well, just for a little bit deeper, just so I've got a bit of stability and I can read my float a little bit better. Last thing I want to do is fish a bit too light a float deeper and miss bites and be a bit slower. I'm trying to be nice and efficient really, so we'll get the gear set up. That's the peg. Get the gear set up and let's see how we get on. It won't be long, a couple of rigs, dead simple. Right, we're just 6 minutes before the all in, so as you can see I've got some thread for dobbing. I need to dob down that edge, and then I've just got maggots, simple reg with a few wags in. Got some pots if I need them for potting in, but I don't think I will. I've got my catapult, kind of loose feed. I'm going to be dead aggressive today, just fishing one line in there. I have set up a short line like here, but I don't think I will catch much on that. I'm just going to go one line, super aggressive over there. So my shallow rig is obviously on the speed short tips, 7's jaw slip, just nice and soft, and then that's just set at 2.5 foot at the minute, so I can go to 3 foot if I need to, but that's just literally F1 shallow, 4x8, a few shot under the float and then a few down the line, dead simple rig. And then for my deep rig, just because it's a little bit deeper here, I normally like a 4x14, 4x12, but it's a little bit deeper here, so I've just gone for 4x14s, 10's jaw holler, nice and soft, but I can land. I might hold the carp here, so I've literally got a bulk, a little trim on the top, one dropper there, one drop on the clump, SFL size 16 or 11, which are here on the rig stick. So next to nothing, dead simple. I've got everything set up, so there's this fish just top there, so I hope it's just going to be a nice and simple day, but I might have to dob a few fish down there. I'm going to have a little look. I have got a dobbing rig set up, which is, where is it? Not that, that's my cupping kit. There we are, that one there. So my dobbing rig is just 13's holler, and then I've just simply 4x10 F1 maggot and a bulk and 2 droppers for now, because I'm fishing a little bit deep. I'm fishing about 3.5 foot there, so 3.5 foot deep to start with, because it is quite deep down these edges. It's probably 5 foot, 4.5, 5 foot. off the edge here. It's quite deep, there's no shelves, so I'll have a flick around that area if I feel like there's one there, but I might start on it, give it 20 minutes. I'm going to put probably a pot of maggots in, probably like that, see that? What's there, like probably 50 maggots, and then I'm just going to loose feed regular. Hopefully when I go on it, get liners and a few bites. So we'll kick off the match, we'll see, and then we'll see how we get on. Hopefully it's just when we come live and start filming, we're catching one a chuck on that long pole line. Dead simple. That's what I think, if you feel like you're on a peg. When I was on the match last week, I feel like this area of the lake was really good. The wind's coming down here, and sometimes you do draw this well, so you just got to attack it and hope for the best, that you're not going to go too gun-ho. Be nice and positive and go for it. So that's what we're going to do. So probably start the match, probably come in about an hour and a half, see if we're catching a few, how it's going, a couple of updates, 2 or 3 updates, and then we'll catch up at the end. So we'll see how it goes. So we're just over an hour and a half in, and things are looking like they're going to go well today. Now, I started off flicking a dobbin rig where I am now, about 3.5 foot deep, just on a single maggot, and I've caught like 4 or 5 F1s. I had to go in the corner quickly. I did hook a carp, but as standard stretching, it just ran me into the pallet and smashed me to pieces, which you find a lot here. So what I did then was I've been loose feeding that 13-metre line all the time. Went on the bottom, and that was a big mistake, just because there's no fish on the bottom. I caught a couple of eyed on the drop, and then I caught some little skimmers and some little perch and stuff, and it wasn't just tell all the fish were shallow. So then I picked my shallow rig up, started to hook an odd F1, not ridiculous. Alan on peg 19, he's catching a little bit better than me shallow, but I feel like they were F1s and stuff. And then one thing that's happened, because the sun's come round now, that area, there's like a massive, I know it sounds ridiculous, there's like a massive ball of fish. So all I've done is I've pulled my shallow rig, or my dobbin rig, sorry, down from 3.5 foot just to 2 foot. So we've got a little bit of extra lash, 16 metres, and I'm just flicking it towards him. Now I've probably just had like 4 or 5 really good F1s on it. So I think I had like £8 on my clicker when I did that. And then I probably got like £18 now, so I've just caught some real good stamp fish quite quickly. So that's what we're going to need. But that shell line was getting better. I was catching the odd fish. I've caught a few eyed on it as well last week when I fished on this lake. Or the week before, I think it was last week before. Just struggled to catch any eyed and silvers, but they're a real big weight builder sort of thing. So all I'm doing is just flicking it towards the ball. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to try and waste too much time, because I feel like I did that before. Definitely did that before. Wasted a little bit too much time dobbing. As soon as it got that carp, got a bit excited thinking I might hook another one. Like I say, big carp is big. It's a big bonus, but I just feel like the lake's fishing too well today. Everyone's getting bites around the lake. There's a lot of fish moving around. I just feel like you're going to need, I feel like £90 plus. It has to bite straight away. £90 plus, so I think you're going to need to be quite aggressive fishing with one line. I'm just trying to make that work, but at the minute, because there's fish I can see, I've decided to dob them. So for people that don't know what that is, I've just literally, I can see the fish or see an area where the fish are. Just a single hook bait, just flicking it towards them. Now it makes sense what they're a big stamp of fish, because I feel like these fish are probably sunning themselves throughout the day. That's a big F1, that one. That's the ones we want. Have we got 21 pound in that net now? These are going to sun themselves throughout the day, these big F1s, and then obviously, like, hopefully last 90 minutes, if the sun just starts to drop and it goes a little bit cooler, I feel like that's when they'll start to feed. But instead of obviously waiting for that time to catch them, we're getting lucky and we're catching an odd fish. Don't be wrong, I know this is a good peg. It's been brilliant for the past few weeks. It won actually the first Winter League round, so it is a good peg. I'm not going to moan about that. But one thing that's really important with this flit rig is to get it as far out as you can. Last thing you want to do is landing in a heap. So even if you have a couple of practice swings, get it all in a straight line. Get it flicked as far as you can. It just helps with allowing to pick your float up. So what I mean by that is when you strike, you're straight into the float quicker than you would be if it was all underneath your pole. Because you have got a long piece of line. It is difficult to control. I feel like the key is just be nice and sensible with it. One motion. Don't try and like swing it to the horizon, but there's a nice ripple coming down here now, so it just sounds like perfect. But this is the thing, when you draw these sort of pegs, people can make mistakes and just think they jump on your hook. Now, you've got to at times just literally go for the motions and let your peg do what your peg allows. Now, if there's a big ball of fish now, I might have scattered them fish. Because see, I had a real quick run of like 4, and then I've had 2 on camera, so 6 maybe, but the 2 on camera weren't as quick as it has been, so they might have just drifted back off. So what you might find is I might have to put this down again, go back on my shallow rig. I've still been chucking a few maggots short, just because I feel like that could be good. I feel like if there's some fish moving, that short line could be good, but it's a little bit deep. But like I said before, it is a deep peg this, so what I've done with that is I've just fished it a little bit closer to myself, just because if I fish it a little bit further, what might happen is if I do get some fish come in the peg, because of the depth, I feel like they'll rise off the bottom and it make it harder to catch anymore. It's just a little throwaway line and make it nice and easy. But if the fish decide to feed and go on the bottom late, because it's a little bit closer, they'll be a bit more reluctant to come off the bottom. So that's why I fished it a bit closer than I normally have. See that? Still catching, I'm not going to say that, but definitely something worth thinking about is just literally don't just think, right, that's it, I've got a dob now to the end. I'm still keeping my options open. I've only got a dead simple approach today, one line, up and down. The bottom's a waste of time long. So, just got shallow now. They were quite tricky to catch shallow, but I just feel like that's because it was like the first hour and a half hour. There's no like settled depth. I don't feel like there's enough, without sounding stupid, I don't feel like there's enough fish there to make them really easy to catch yet. There's an odd hide whizzing around. I just feel like that can upset them as well. So I'll just try and catch one more. There's an odd hide whizzing around. There's not F1s there in a big ball. You can't imagine, say, that big ball that's out there that I can see. That's what your peg will look like when they come into it. So at the moment, it's going swimmingly well, but as we've seen from the last round, it can all go peaked on quickly. But I've got me trying to be concentrated today and trying to make the most of it, because I just feel like I want a chance to win the match here. Should have really won the match last time. It faded away from me. I was a bit slow with decisions. Looking back, it's easy to look back on your match, but looking back, that's a quick bite there. Oh, wrapped around the end. That's one thing, because I've had to put all my shot under my float. You do get a few wrap rounds with it. But just keep flick it out as far as you can. One little tip of that flicking is, as it gets to like its maximum, drop your pole so it just all comes down instead of coming back towards you. You will miss a few bites on it, but say it's just a bit like mugging them, dobbing them, whichever you want to call it. There's a lot of fish in this area. There has been for winter. It's renowned. I'm not going to beat around the bush. It's renowned, this peg, or this area of the lake around this spinner, as being a really good area. So really important, like that little run I've just had on that, because I've seen them fish, instead of just thinking, oh my god, there they are, like I've just thought, you know what, I'm going to have a little go at them. I know I can catch him like that because I have done in the past before. But say that them fish later on might come into that feed, but difficult because I feel like there's an odd hide in the peg and there might be an odd skimmer there, or it's not their feeding time yet. It's quite difficult to catch them as it is because of the weather. But once I think like later on, that last half an hour, last 40 minutes could be really, really good shallow, and then I feel like you can have a set depth, probably like, I've had an odd bite at 2 foot, so it makes me think like I'm going to catch quite shallow today. But at the minute I've been fishing between like 2.5 to 4 foot. 3 foot's been best as an average. But like I say, that can all change. The amounts of fish come in the peg. A lot of fish come in the peg, that's right there. And you can catch a few different ways. So it's going well at the minute. Probably got nearly a pole in the lake, but probably got, I'd say, 22 pound in that net. F1 will go a little bit more, but so probably got 26, 27 pound of them. Probably nearly got 35 pounds, so it's a good way to be in, not even 2 hours in yet. So I feel like the best time's yet to come. And the line, obviously, I'm dobbing them at the minute, so I'm not feeding. So I'm getting a run, but when you can catch feeding them, I feel like you can put runs shallow, and hopefully when we come back, that's where they'll be. And that's how we'll be catching them, so keep that going for now. I'm going to keep plodding on, keep that loose feed line fed, and then we'll catch up when we've caught a few more. Now we're just coming up to just over, and that 90 minutes left, so. And then it's gone quite well. I've had a good run shallow. What I talked about, I caught really well, like 2 foot deep. When the sun was out, I caught really well on that. So we filled one net, so probably got 50 pound in that net. And I've got 7 pound in my other F1 net. And I've probably got 10 or 12 pound of hide. So we're looking well. We're looking at probably the upper end of 60 pound, getting on to 70 with 90 minutes left. Now, one thing that happened in the last half an hour is, I wouldn't say I lost my way a little bit, but there was an odd fish milling around in this corner. I've got a little bit preoccupied with trying to dob some fish. Now, maybe because I've not then loose fed this as regular, when I've dropped back in shallow, I've not really had any bites. Not as well as caught as well I have done. And I just feel like them fish might have just drifted out my peg. So what I decided to do, instead of just plodding along shallow and hoping we'd catch one, I literally just thought, you know what, I'll have a look on the bottom, and that's resulted in 3 or 4 F1s. Like little stockies, don't get me wrong, they're not massive, but then all of a sudden it gives me a sign where if I'm loose feeding now, and I'm getting liners and indications, so it's like, right, some fish back in my peg now, I need to pick up the shallow rigs again and search my pegs. As where before, it was a bit static and it was hard to find where I needed to fish, but this is where I feel like now I'm going to not flicker that rig around. I haven't got any other line, which might cost me in the long run, but I just feel like this is where you need to be. That's that bite there. It wasn't too much of a line of that one, but this is where I need to be. Feel like to get a match winning weight sort of thing. I need probably upper 90, 100 pound, like I said, and I'm going to need to catch regular to get towards that. Now there's probably got 8 pound in that left net. Now I'm saying that a lot because I've actually forgot my clicker, so it's a nice F1. Actually forgot my clicker, so I'm just keeping an eye on what I need to put in that net. I've got 8 pound in there, so I want to set myself a little target when I come into the last hour and try and have, say, in that the next 30 minutes or so, I want to just try and catch, maybe try and get to 20 pound in that net, 12 pound. That might seem a big task, but we can say like 15 to 20 pounds. So, but if it does start to get some bites shallow again, I feel like that is really, really achievable. Yeah, that's a bite on the drop straight away. So this is what I mean, just because I come off that line, sometimes I shouldn't have come off it really, looking back at it now. But when you come off lines, you don't feed them as regular, and I think you lose a few fish. Just there's no bait in there while they stay there. They just drift off into the sunset, and then obviously if you want to start feeding again, because I'm feeding a lot more regular than everyone around me. Zip that up. I'm feeding a lot more regular around me, so any fish that want to feed, especially this part of the match, they're going to come to me, which is important because that's when you can get massive runs of fish, especially when you're catching like shallow, stuff like that. So, one thing that's come out this corner as well, there's a lot of rubbish. All the rubbish has come out the corner, and I think fish might have just drifted with that because there was a lot of fish hanging around there before. Trying not to catch that duck. So just because I'm loose feeding a bit regular now, I'm expecting that was a quick bite on the settle then. So I haven't got loads and loads of lines. I'm just going to concentrate on this up and down. I feel like in the next 20 minutes or so, I'll be able to. I should have loose fed it enough. Yeah, that's a liner then. Loose fed it enough to be able to bring them fish back up shallow. Now the run I had before, I caught them in like 2 foot deep. It was perfect, catching a lot of fish regular. So that's what we need to get back to. You put a massive run of fish together. Yeah, that's saying. See, that's foul looked. Come on. And whiz back, check me hook bait. So that's the first foul look we've had there. Which, when I first went on this, probably 10 or 15 minutes ago, I didn't really foul look anything. It just sat there nice, but get that duck out of the way. No, I'm not flicking my rig out. I'm just dropping it straight down, holding it probably a foot out of the water. As soon as everything straightens up, I'm just going to drop it down, let it all settle naturally. See, that's just pulled the elastic out. So I think I'll have one more chuck on this, try and get to £10 because we've got 8 there at the minute, and then I'm going to have a look shallow again. But it's crazy. You literally build your swim back up, and then they just come back. And obviously it's the best time. That sun's sort of dropped now. I think you maybe tell from the video it's not as bright as it was before. It's gone a little bit cooler. That just might help things. It might make a few fish stop swimming around and start to look to feed. So £9 in there. So if you start hooking some of them bigger F1s as well, your weight can fly up. So if I can get to like £15 to £20 in that net and an hour to go as well, I feel like I can catch £25 shallow in an hour on that long pole. I'm just going to drop that and see if I do get a bite on the settle. One thing is really important, is being accurate with your catapult as well. When I first wasn't on it, when I wasn't fishing it, I was quite all over the place, but as I've started to fish and get used to it, where to pull it back to, where to let go, just accuracy comes out, and that's so key. Just makes it a tighter area and makes them easier to catch, which is so important. But it's crazy, isn't it, that third round that I filmed, freezing cold, flicking a bit of bait in, there wasn't a catapult in sight. 2 weeks later, drew a really good ped at the top end. I'm loose feeding and catching shallow. It just shows as soon as that water warms up and fish want to feed a little bit, they will do. Don't get me wrong, this has been the real good area of the lake. Can't moan it where I've drawn. One thing's important, just if you feel like don't know where the fish are on your peg, just don't lift your rig out, just leave your rig sat there, loose feed over the top, and sometimes you can get an indication of fish whizzing through. That's a sign then. But yeah, there was an odd fish down that sort of like corner, milling around. Now earlier in the day when I did have a good run dobbing, I did catch a carp down there. That's why it just tempted me to go back there, but that's the problem sometimes. You get drawn into it and you don't catch one, you feel like you wasted your time. But then if I've hooked a 15 pounder, you'd feel like a hero. But just feel like this is, yeah, too many liners there now. Just makes more sense. Before I went on camera, it was just nice and steady away. This is just that shot under again, like really erratically, which is not small fish. That there's fish in my peg moving through, getting signs, indications, but not getting some bites. Now, it's not going to be because I've got too much bait on the bottom. It's going to be literally. I need to put my sunglasses back on. The sun just popped through again. So that's where I'm looking at. Probably going to go back in, probably maybe 3 foot deep. Yeah, that's. I need to come off that. It's just getting a bit all over the place, a bit scatty. It's not right. It's quite deep there anyway. It's probably just over 6 foot, a bit deeper. So I'm going to go in with me. Just try 3.5 foot, just for now. See if I get any bites, and then if I do, I just set it 3.5 foot before and I did catch an F1, so if I get any bites on this. The duck's in the way. And if I get any plucks on the way down and keep it held it tight, falling through. Yeah, that's gone on the settle. So I'm messing around at 3.5 foot. Actually a fish down here. That was stocky. So what I'm going to do, it's a bit quick to do it, but I'm going to fish. It's 10 pound in that net now. And look at me rig, 3 and 2.5 foot deep. 2.5 foot seems about right. The fish did pop up to sort of like 2 foot. Probably, I think I caught a few at 18 inch as well when I got a few, and there was a lot of fish there, but I feel like they could come back up to that sort of level. Flick it past all the time. You'll soon know if this is right because you get a quite quick instant response. They are like that. Yep. So that just shows the importance of regular feeding. I'm messing around down that edge there, not putting enough fish in there, enough bait in my peg. And this now, as soon as I've done that, the fish has just come drifted back, obviously on enough fish. Tangled in a load of roots. It gives me 11, that one. Yeah, I forgot my clicker, so could be a little net violation today if I've got it wrong, but 11 pound in that fish is just about a pound, so. Always important to flick it past. Any fish lingering past just gives you an easier chance to grab it. It's a beauty. If you're fishing like 2.5 foot deep, you don't need a mega long piece of line between your float and your pole tip as well. Just got about a foot there. Just keeps me under control. I can lift at any dinks. Like, yeah, that's a little lifting job. I can lift at any dinks and stuff like that, but I don't normally do this, but because I feel like feed's really important. I've got a 7's jaw, so that fish ain't going anywhere. I'm just going to give it 20. Fish is flying around. It's the thing, just because it's 7's jaw, you think, oh, that's miles too light, but 1 or 2 pulls and you pull a kit here now. That fish is under control. Like early springtime fishing. Nice and controlled. That's 12 pound with a pounder. This is the thing, you can either get big or little ones in your peg, but got 12, and what's the time now? 12 minutes in. So I've got 18 minutes, probably able to catch another, I'd say we have to catch another 5 or 6, so going to be looking at that 20 pound mark in that net with an hour to go, which is ideal. It's where we need to be. That's an indication then. I'm not too fussed about laying my rigging all the time. I feel like, especially this time of year, hanging your bait, especially here at Weston, can be brilliant. The fish come move around, you can give it a little lift and drop. Just that little jerking motion, if any fish are there sat there in your peg or swimming through, gives them a little reason to come and have a look. Yeah, that's a bite there. It's a nice fish, that one. So sometimes you can get away with that feed afterwards, just because I fed then it means I'm not going to feed again. So just depending, it's not like a robotic, but as I fed then I've got a bite, so there's no need for me to refeed halfway back. That's where you can get your little edges and speed yourself up. But see, this one's coming in nicer. He's a bit over a pound, but we'll just give him a pound, so that's 13. Don't normally like counting in my head because I lose track, but just like to get to me mark, flip me rigging. Watch them ducks because they're a bit divey, them ones. Sometimes they don't really interfere with you, but this one's will do. Yeah, that's a bite straight away. As you can see, this is what it was like before, when we had a load of indications in size. We just brought them fish back, and as you can see, it's solid. Just by getting fundamentals right, to just being nice and smooth, not trying to pull the heads off and trying to go too quick. Just trying to get one at a time. That's 14. No, I had to go on double maggot before, but I didn't actually get a bite, and then I literally put a side hook single maggot back on, and it went straight away. So that's been the best hook bait today. Just a red side hooked maggot. Now, if I started to get some missed bites and liners on this, or I started to catch quite quickly when my rig was going through the water, when I flick it over, I will be tempted to shallow it up. You're gonna miss a bite there. Last thing I want to do is sit there just at 2.5 foot, think, yeah, I'm happy with that if I'm just missing a few bites, but you've got to be wary sometimes. You can go shallower and it doesn't always pay off. This is ridiculous now. That's it, so give it a little spray. Sometimes you go shallow and it doesn't always pay off. Rollers. So sometimes it's just best where you're just catching steady, and if you feel like something's happening where it's affecting your catch rate, or you're missing too many bites and you feel that's a different case, that's when it's a bit bigger, that one. £1.50 for him. We'll go 15, and then if we catch £1.50, we'll add £0.5 on. 15. See there, I can easily get towards some targets now, which is good. So it's pretty simple. This is what it's like when you do draw a really good peg. It can be really simple. I know, I'll check my shotting pan actually. Last thing I want to do is go out there. Yes, just my stock's moved. Let's just move that back. Nice strung out pattern. The thing, some days you do draw a really good peg. So it can be this simple. I know a lot of people like it where, that's ridiculous, where the days where you're scratching around and you're struggling to catch, that's where you feel like you learn the most, but this is where your efficiency comes in, your speed. And I just like to keep nice and smooth, keep everything, no jagged movements. That's £1.50, so I've got £17 in that net. That's what I mean. I mean, not even catching, I know it sounds greedy, the big fish. There's some massive F1s in this place. It only takes them to start feeding and you can fly up. But like I said before, that's 13 minutes, so I've just caught probably £5 in 5 minutes, which is more than fast enough. Don't need to do anything different. Just need to go out and do the right things. So it's like, right, swing my rig back, flip my rig in, just keep an eye on that duck. Make sure my rig's nice and tight and not moving it around much. Now I'm going to feed because I need to. Over the top. Just leave it hanging, don't move my float. None of the slapping loads. Missed the bite then. Watch that duck, lay it back in. Just lay it in, keep everything tight. See a little indication then, a bit shallower, which might be 1 or 2 fish. It's not even loads, that's the first one we've had. Like I said before, it's going to build up, so if the peg keeps getting better and better and better, well, obviously the shallower and shallower we're going to catch. There's no point staying it and flick it past. There's no point staying at a silly depth like 3.5 foot and just getting an odd bite, an odd foul looker. You want to be right where the fish are. See a few liners. See another liner there, so could be the fish are coming a little bit shallower. Don't want to make too many decisions yet, but got a few problems there where it's like gone under and it's not a bite. That sort of thing. It's all moving and dragging under. That's where you know it's a bite. Fish straight away. Now I'm having a few liners now, so I think one more flick at this and then I'll come back and shallow it up a little bit because I feel like the fish might have come a little bit higher. Just gonna have a little look. Now, yeah, there's the bite there straight away. Now, one thing that happened then is I had some people walk round, but that can cause to go for a bit weird, miss a few bites and it upsets them, but we'll just have a little look. Might catch an odd better fish really shallow as well. This feels like a good fish actually. Good fish. Yeah, it's £1.50 there. That's what we want. So we've got £18 and £0.5 to add on if we catch another one. Right, so what I'm going to do now, just pull it down to 2 foot, just to see if that is the problem. Make sure my back shot comes with it, because I need to keep everything tight. It's got a back shot about 4 or 5 inches away. Keeps it all nice and tidy. Flick it over. You'll find that straight away. If you've made the right decision, you'll know straight away. Obviously, because there's a lot of fish that are exactly like that. You know when you made the right call about depth is when you flick it back in and it goes straight away. So important. So I think we'll end on that one. I'll try and keep catching. See how we get on. I might come back for like the last 10 minutes, but that's what I mean. It's not much to show really, other than me getting one a chuck. I go 19 and it gives me an extra catching one a chuck. But like I said before, it's about efficiency. This is trying to keep efficient, making sure your rig's not moving. You keep putting fish in the net and you're making the most of when the chances when your fish are in the peg. Just feel like sometimes you can get carried away and not make the most of it. So we'll come back and just before the end, see how we're getting on. Right, we'll come back now. We've got 14 minutes left now. Had a good little spell shallow between 18 inch and 26 inch, say, to be Pacific. Now, Had a little run on that, and we've got up to £42 in that net. Now obviously I'm going to try and stop it 40 odd, but just feel like this last little 10 minutes now spell, they've just been quite tricky to catch. I'm not sure where to fish. Now what I've found is when I fished a little bit deeper, say like 26 inch, I've caught some bigger fish. So I've caught some old F1s. I haven't caught any higher than that, but when I fish like a little bit higher, I get a few more signs and indications, but I do hook like some smaller fish, but I'm not sure whether what the best thing to do is. I feel like just stay on this rig. Stay on this rig for now. Keep putting them in the net and just see where we end up. Ooh. Feel like I'm definitely going to have £50 in my first net. I just need to get up to £50 in this net. And I feel like we got £10 of silvers, but I might be wrong. Might have a bit less. Not really sure. Because I've not counted the hide. I'm not really sure, but I'm not moaning. It's been a brilliant day's fishing. Ridiculous. But there's a few things which not improve on, but planning my match and stuff, I just should have been a bit more ruthless and just stayed on this line, or maybe had another line somewhere just so I can drop on it, but I don't feel like I'd have caught on that. Strevers are strange. You get like little spells of certain fish in your peg, which makes sense. I just feel like there's balls of fish coming round all the time. When them big uns are in your peg, I had like 3 or 4 on a bounce this deep, just sitting there leaving it. It's like they'd be coming through moody, but if you're fishing too shallow, you're not going to catch them. I've used a fair bit of maggot today. I've used probably 3.5 to nearly 4 pints. I don't know whether that was me being a bit too conservative, because with an hour to go I thought I was going to run out of them, but maybe just held off on the feed a little bit when I should have just kept on flicking the bait in. But that's one thing as well, because I've not had probably enough bait to feed 2 lines, as where it's alright in the winter months where you're fishing a couple of lines and you lose feed an odd one, but when you're being really aggressive on one line, trying to draw a lot of fish in your peg, you need a lot of bait. Not stupid amounts, but you need a bit of bait. 3 to 4 pints on that line. Now if you're going to fish a short line or an edge line as well, you're going to need probably 1 to 2 pints for that as well. So it's a bit shallower again. It's the thing, I've had a lot of, when I feel like there's an odd stocky in my peg, I do catch them on the drop and when my rig's settling, but when there's a big uns in my peg, I just feel I sit there and it goes. So just trying to work out what's best, but the most efficient way to catch them. Oh, that's a bite, that. Been ever so good today, but I just feel like feed's been really important to keep it dripping in. You're not putting in pouch and pouch and pouch, but we're feeding 10 to 15 quite regular. So we're putting them in the net. It just feels, I don't know what this feels, a little stocky again. So I mean, if you've got different types of fish in your peg, when them big ones are in your peg, dead simple, just big plodders, you take your time. But when these are in your peg, you do need to catch them quite quick. Side hooking a maggot. Not sure whether that sun makes a difference, whether different fish, but just keep always flicking it past. Make sure it's gone past, and then on a twig, that one, and again. Nice light rig, that 4BH, just falling through the water. Yeah, let's see, not that on the drop there. So we've got like 44 plus this fish, so you get little spells, I think you just got to fish through them. the mic in a good place. That's a nice fish, £1.50, they're nearly £2 that one. See, there's an odd, on this rig there's an odd, bit bigger fish, just a little bit deeper. Let's go out. And one thing I have done is changed all my hook lengths to 3 and 4 inches. So on my shallowest rig I've got 3 inches, and then on this rig I've got just a bit of rubbish around the line. On this rig I've just got 4 inches, just because it's a little bit deeper. But because I'm fishing like 18 inches, I want a shot a bit closer to the hook. Flip my rig past. You see that bite come from doing that before? Got £45 that net, so if you can get to 50, that would be mega. But I had a real good spell after I went at that last clip. You can see it was getting better and better and better. But it just makes me think, you come off these lines without feeding them, they just become a nightmare for you. It takes a while to build them back up again. That's the importance of regular feeding. Can't stress that enough. Oh, it's nice again now. Sometimes you're just trying to catch too quick as well. It can be, because you're on a good peg, it can play little games with you, but so we're just getting to a mark now. For nice and smooth, nice short landing net. Short kits makes it everything dead easier. That's what I like about that landing net as well. You can just literally throw it back. No messing. £46. Yeah, sometimes when you're filming, you want a match where it's a bit tricky and you have to chopping and changing, you have to work a few things out, you do little tricks to catch one, but when it's like this, it's just like I said before, it's about being efficient, making the most of when the fish are in your peg, regular feeding, keeping it tight, making sure your rig's tight, little things like that. Of that fish, if I get a little dink now, got my back shot close to it, my pole's dead still. So if I get a little indication, I can either give it a little lift and then drop it back in, or I can lift the rig out and flick it back in again. You'd be surprised how sometimes it can be a little liner. If you give it that little lift and then keep that float in the water, you'd be ever surprised how many fish you can catch straight after you miss an indication. I do feel like once the fish, I should have just left it. I do feel like once the fish do just grab it, I feel like you do catch them. You don't miss many, but we know that F1s can be quite fickle, spitting bait out and giving you indications and making life hard, but a few little changes, ring the changes. As you see, I had like 3 fish quite quick there. And then you might sit there now for 2 or 3 minutes, 4 minutes, which seems a lifetime when you're catching a few fish. Yeah, just pretty that one. Seems a lifetime when you're catching a few fish, but make all the difference. There we go. That was a nice bite. That's sort of like, it's not going to be a big one, but that's what the sort of the big ones were. Just nice and quiet, no buzzing around. You can imagine all them stockies, them little fish just flying around your peg at 100 miles an hour. And I think sometimes it puts them bigger fish off. They're quite fast, erratic feeders. Get a lot of indications and signs off them. It's 47. So I'd be happy if we catch another. I don't think we're going to catch 3 in 4 minutes, but I feel like we can catch another 1 or 2. Depending on how quick this one goes. Definitely catch another 1. Give me 48, so They have been a little bit smaller on this shallow line, but that's predictable because see my mugging fish or my dobbing fish will be a lot bigger. So it's easier to build a weight and you build it quicker. And it feels like you're flying, and then once you have to start like catching these fish, these stocky fish, obviously you're catching a lot of fish, but they're not going to weigh half as much. But don't get me wrong, it's been brilliant fishing. So I'm not scared just to leave that hanging. Give it a little lift and drop. Not too high. Last thing you want to do is like your float trying to catch up and chase and a fish grab it and you miss that indication. Yeah, that's perfect, that one. Now, because I've hooked that one there like that, last thing I want to do is, because I want a quick one afterwards, I'm just going to feed it as a ship back. Just stop it halfway. Just think about trying to line the next fish up. Keeping it nice and low. Nice little fish. So I've just been side hooking a little red maggot, literally bending it round. Just feel like single maggot that way, it gives a bit more exposure with the hook. If they grab it, they're grabbing the hook as well, as where if they're grabbing a single maggot just hooked normally, they have to suck it all the way in, as where that. I feel like with these little F1s, it'd be a bit of a nightmare. You're just making it, just putting all them things in your basket to put in your favour. That's what I mean, we could have been chasing them up and down, I've just stuck on my guns, been nice and patient. That little lift and drop there. If there's any fish sitting above it, that's on. Any fish sitting above it, out. Large one. A lucky one on the hoot with that one. So we'll just try and get us in and then we'll chuck it in the net. We've had a mega day. Loads of fish. Let's try and play in now. There we go. It's a problem when you get one after the match. There you go. So, there's that one. Lovely F1 in the net. So we'll get the usual spiel of we'll get weighed in and then we'll just come back and have a little valuation, but see how we've got on. Hopefully I feel like it might fish really well today on this venue. Can't even get the hook out. Feel like it can't fish really well on this venue today. Could have fished in areas, but we'll see how we got on. Right, we're all weighed in now and we've weighed 128 pounds. Now this is a little bit more than what I thought. I did feel like we'd have like 110 to 120 at the end of the match, but 128 pounds, that's what we've caught. I've won the match, so what a day's fishing. Dead simple approach. Like I said at the start of the video, I want to be nice and aggressive. I wanted to attack my peg and try and get the most out of it that I could. Now, that's the thing, when you draw pegs like this, these brilliant pegs, you need to make the most of it. And today is probably a bit controversial to the last time we did round 4. Is last time I went away thinking I could have done better, and this time I just had a really good day. Been nice and efficient, nice and smooth, catching a few fish, and it's been on the peg to be able to do it. That's the important thing. When you're on a good peg, you're able to do this. So one or two things today. It is if look on a bit things I can improve on. I spent a little bit too long dobbing. Now just chasing fish around because I could see the odd fish, trying to catch a carp, because when I hooked the carp up that corner early on. But I'm not going to dwell on that too much. We've had a brilliant day. I feel like one thing as well, when you're on them single lines, is it showed when we stopped feeding as regular, the fish drifted out the peg. But as soon as you started putting regular loose feed into the peg, you're seeing the fish wanted to come off the bottom and catch them that way. Now, one thing that's been really important today, and it's so important, I spoke about it all the time with top kits fishing, is depths. Now, this is why depth markers are key. just so you know what you're fishing at. It gives you a rough guide, you know exactly. So there at 18 inches deep, say if you feel like the fish have dropped, you can go back up to 2 foot. Now it's a bit different. In the summer months you need a few shallow rigs set up for different depths, but at this time of year you can get away with 1 or 2 shallow rigs and just move it around, because you can get a long piece of line between your pole float and your tip. Nice and efficient. Back shot to keep it all in place. Dead light float, so 4x8, F1 shallow, and like I said before, the depth markers are the key. Also elastic wise, 7 jaw. Now if this starts becoming the regular thing, I will look to step up my elastic to 9s hollow, just because it's a little bit softer. But you can see we had a few eyed today, shallow, and you can sometimes bump them fish if you've got 9s hollow on, if the fishing's a little bit difficult. But as I say, it's been brilliant today. It's not cost us any fishing 7s jaw, but if it does come a bit apparent and you don't want to wear it out too much, you can just slip a 9s in for safety. But dead simple day, dead simple approach. We've attacked it and it's been brilliant. So it's been a nice day. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. Helps you out massively, the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.